I think it's funny that Brandish is always completely going against what a lot of people expect she's gonna do. I still remember when Brandish was very fresh into the overall series, and all the people that were everybody knows that at least some of those guys that are negative about relatively any events in any chapter, their assumption of whatever's going to happen is always going to be the whatever's they're going to want to complain about the most. And Brandish was constantly by these types of guys. So, oh, she's going to betray Alvarez and join Fairy Tail, and it's going to be very obvious, blah blah blah. She's not going to listen to Zara for all of them. She's going to switch sides and help. Never happened. Still is part of Alvarez. Like, still is like, yeah, Lucy, I helped you for like a second, but I'm here for that key, and you're not getting that key. So sorry. She's helping her in with just Caramel, and then anything beyond that, she's like, yeah, okay, no thanks. Like, this is at this point intertwining with my own stuff, and you're not getting it. I know Lucy's gonna get the key, clearly. Like, what is Brandish gonna do with the key? Like, she's not a celestial spirit wizard. What value does she have for the key? Like, at that point, you're just keeping it like a memento rather than more so utilizing it as the person plus the item in the best hands of a more capable wizard, a celestial spirit wizard master. Like, why would you not? Yeah, my cat's yelling in the back. She's hyped up about it. She's a Mercphobia fan, so she's having a good time with it. But Brandish versus Caramel, I feel like Caramel's gonna come back. I don't think Caramel's done. I would really like to see her have a semi-competence level of existence here, further progress than just like semi-dragon-like, just like with horns and scales, like actually become a dragon, because obviously they're not going to defeat Mercphobia here. I believe they're going to get the Lacrimas destroyed at points in time, and he is going to be freed from his position of like being in this almost not mind controlled, but just kind of like in this more dark state, because they haven't talked, but they don't seem like they're like feral. Like, Mercphobia sees them and he's just swimming in the water. He's like a predator. It looks really cool the way that he's going about it. I'm a big fan of the fact that Mercphobia has this beautiful panel of him looming out of the darker waters. I really wish that the Lacrima was further down. I really liked when we saw the shadow of it, and the idea of it was like further in this chasm. I think it would have been really cool to see a much more open water, but within almost like this underwater kind of, again, ravine what it's in. And especially with Merc's size, it'd be really cool to see the scale if it was like really big, but then you like really see just like how big it is compared to him, and he looks like something like a damn garden snake. And I'm trying to think of something to compare it to. I'm just thinking of like a garden snake, I guess, in a pool. I don't know. I don't know, I guess, but you know what I mean. Just a large open cave underwater would have been cool. It's not a big deal. I'm really enticed on the fact that it doesn't seem like we're directly going to be fighting any of the dragon gods right now, and I'm expecting us to get a little bit more vision of the other characters and what we're doing, since we saw at least Natsu and Brian this chapter. I don't expect this one to be like, yeah, we're gonna show every single character, everything, what's going on, set up everything this bit. I've got my fingers crossed, I would say, really more so on having an idea generally of what's going on in every one of the locations before we finish any of them. Like, obviously Lucy isn't dead in this chapter. I mean, it doesn't take anyone with a fortune teller to figure that out, or a degree in writing. We know that she's not going to be dead, but on top of that, she should have her hologram auto save once a day still, so she should be safe from that. And then there's the fact that we have to figure out where it's going to go with this whole bit with Aquarius and Lucy and Mercphobia all going in, and Ermina and whatnot. Because destroying the Lacrima, I don't think is really a big unstoppable endeavor. It seems more so just getting the opportunity to, and Lucy's over here just straight getting bodied by Merc in like 2 seconds, and Merc isn't even like using any moves, which I think is really funny, because like some people I saw, and this is just a small minority, were like, how is Lucy even able to really hold back against it all? It's like she he didn't do anything. She shot a water attack at him and he just went forward. Like there was no, it's like no pushback. It's like it wasn't even throughout the chapter. It's like she was just like, I'll do an attack, and then he gets right there. She has a moment where she's thinking about him early on, like way back in early 100 Years Quest with Mercphobia, and him wanting to do more good. And then like right after that, she's blown out of the water, and we see the whole bit with Natsu talking to Brian about the Age of Dragons beginning. Obviously super stoked on that, super hyped to see how this is all going to play out in general. But Lucy and Brandish, I thought this chapter was just in general really good. Brandish's character always, like I said, ends up really going against what a lot of people just assume that she's going to do. But I feel like a lot of people forget that Brandish ultimately does what she wants to do. Like she's a loyal member of her nation, but at the same time, like she'll only do what the requirements pretty much of her are. She only did stuff with Zareth because Zareth, she had like strong admirations for. So it only makes sense of like in a normal setting, though she isn't going to be an aggressive person, she is still not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm on your guys' side 100%. She's gonna help against Caramel, but she's got her own things that are personal against them. Though again, I don't really know what her plan is to get the Aquarius key and just have Aquarius around. Like, what is she gonna do with that? Like, what benefit does she have with Aquarius's key versus giving it to Lucy? Very cool to see Brandish fight. I was very happy about that, just to see again like a level of degree of display of how she fights, because her magic is one of those ones that's very free form. It depends on how well she uses it. Like the basic example I've always thought is like if Brandish threw a bunch of rocks up in the air, she could enlarge them to be like mountains falling from the sky. And like we see some stuff in this chapter, she uses her command T to, for one, obviously be enlarged, as we saw, to do an attack, and then shrink down to dodge an attack. You know, enlarge the coral to mess with attack trajectory, as well as to block attacks that Caramel was sending her way. And then just basic stuff like enlarging her arm just for like a punch. Like her magic is very simple again, but it depends on how you use it and what you're going to be using it on. Like using it with your environment is where I think it starts to get into the more full, not like full utilization, but where you're getting down the right road. Because again, it's basics, you're just making, you're gonna make yourself or a person bigger, large, or smaller, or okay, going to objects. And then I wonder if she's ever gonna, if she ever does, well, I can't say if ever she's gonna get to. It's not like we know if Brandish is incapable of X, Y, or Z. We only know the requirements is that she, obviously there's like magic potency levels and whatnot, but also she has to know where the location of what she's targeting is. She can't just like freely target anything. So if your heart was on the right side of your chest and she went for your left side, it's not going to be there. So she's not going to have the direct thing. Like maybe she'll just go for your whole torso and just get over it. But as it were, I'm a big fan of the whole bit again of like the chasm bit. I was hoping that when we saw it, it wasn't going to be the Lockerman. It was going to be like Sharkette was turned into a dragon, and we are going to see like this cool shark dragon in the water, but more not like how like Merc is like this cool serpentine sea dragon, more so of like, again, like a shark, but way more like monstrous. I think that would have been really cool. I really want to see what like more of like this other characters getting turned into dragons and like stuff with them, just because I assume there's a point in the process where they can be saved and not become dragons, but I also believe that there's a point where it's like if they get past a certain threshold of dragonization, they are permanently now going to be a dragon, and even destroying the Lockerman is not going to do anything about it. I would really like it if this couldn't really be just undone regularly. Like there are ways to do it, but like there's just a otherwise permanence to it that you can't just take off automatically. I really am hoping that we have something like that added into the fray with the whole being turned into dragon aspects. But Mercphobia as well. I love the panel with him where he's swimming around the Lacrima, and then the one right after that I think adds into it so well, where he's swimming towards them, but it's like he's not swimming in high speed. He's just doing this looming nature, and then once he sees clearly that they're a problem, he ends up going to attack. But Merc isn't doing any real techniques. He's just going for melee attacks and like straight, straight full frontal like assaults. So I don't imagine that they're on this mega hostile mode. I think the Dragon Gods are way more set of like, yeah, defend the Lacrima, because they're to what power altering the dragons, or turning into dragons in the area. And with that, you kind of just need them to more as an act like a catalyst, and less so as a big destroyer of powers. Because if it's more so like, oh yeah, they're not gonna go as full crazy because they need to protect their Lacrima, you could figure out a way to like do something of like, okay, well, what if Lucy and them like lure Mercphobia's attack into hitting the Lacrima? Like, what if they get like Aquarius and you have like Brandish, Lucy, Aquarius, maybe Curious shows up, and you have like all this stuff where all it's doing is just setting up a tactical redirection of attack that destroys the Lacrima, frees Mercphobia of its control, and gets them at least in a good standing with what to do next. Because like I said, but once the Lacrima get destroyed, and because I personally, I think Mishima has this part of the plot set up so it's not like, oh yeah, everybody's gonna become a dragon that we're gonna see permanently, but there are gonna be people that are permanently affected and are just altered for all time as we go. But also on top of that, we have an objective that isn't just to fight the Dragon Gods and trying to rebattle them. Because some of them I would like to refight again and see it from different sides of things. Like maybe if we get Alderaan versus Natsu round 2 in the future, or get Viernes in actual showings and not just kind of him not doing alchemy and just doing all these gold attacks. Like you actually see him in his full capabilities. I'm a big hype for that. I've got a lot of hopes in seeing that from specific people. I mean, it's like Alderaan. It's like I want to see more of Alderaan, but Alderaan had a great showing overall. But whereas like Viernes, it's like Viernes, you remember you're an alchemist guy, do some alchemy. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I understand why his was more fast paced, and it doesn't seem, at least to me, like he's as much of a fighter as is more of like a tactical character, kind of like Zero, where Zero is powerful, but once you get him in a fight, he's not as good. He's much better as more of like from a distance strategy dude, planner kind of character. But Lucy, I think in this chapter again, she's just doing a good bit where she's trying to appeal to Mercphobia, trying to talk to that guy that clearly she saw wanted to do better with his life, wanted to help people and not be this like casually murderous monster dragon that roamed the ocean. Because I really enjoy the parts where we're seeing like, yeah, even though they're different species, it really comes down to the person, and Mercphobia is a really good character for that. And clearly one of the ones that, obviously them meeting very early, they're able to connect well into just like the ideas of these dragons that, even if they were different at a time, now that they have a different lifestyle and try and be something else and try and do something else than where they were at before. But I don't expect Lucy to be in any real danger from this bit. This is just like one of those parts where it's supposed to make you go, oh shit, well, how's she gonna get out of this one? Hologram, very much so, I think, is an easy way. Maybe Brandish does some shrink stuff, gets her out of. I think Hologram would be the best one, just because on top of that, it would get that out of the way. And so Lucy doesn't have it, because not only that, we don't know if this encounter is going to be the only one within the span of the day. Like, say they get finished here, it's a couple hours later, they have to go to another thing. Even if Lucy recovers on magic and she gets replenished, as far as we know, there is a hard once per day rule on Hologram. So even if she restores her magic, I don't believe she can just use Hologram again, which is important because at that point it takes away the safety back, the like backnet safety that she has Hologram. Because I've said for a long time, Hologram is one of Lucy's best keys by far, because it gives her an automatic save that is beyond what she has to like she doesn't have to react to it. It's automatic. If she's in this thing that will kill her, she'll automatically just be pulled out and come back. And if you have say you have a character that has like, oh, this is my all-in move, they do some big nuke attack, and then you pretty much just get to bypass that, and then Lucy's just back at normal power, and then this person's like, wow, probably shouldn't have used all of my power into this one attack without knowing that you know all of your capabilities, kind of thing. So I don't know. I would imagine that we would have you know, something along those lines for I don't know. I'm trying to like figure out like exactly what Lucy's just general plans moving forward are going to be for everything, and like what we're going to be having for this fight, because I don't imagine that this is going to be detrimental to her, but again, taking Hologram out of the fight is something I think is good. It makes you go, okay, she doesn't have this now, and it's like, okay, well, where's the fight's gonna go? What's gonna happen? I really like the idea of like having stuff like Kyria show up and Kyria helping. Maybe they've maybe like Kyria can hypnotize. Ooh, that'd be cool if you had Kyria show up and Kyria hypnotizes Caramel, so Caramel is like hypnotized to not be against them, like cuts the part out that turns her like that, and so she's got her dragon powers, but she's in her normal state of mind. So you can have all of them try, you know, not fight Mercphobia, but just get to where they can destroy the locker room and free him of the control. I would really appreciate something kind of like that. I think that would be a really cool like team unit thing, because it would also give Caramel something. I don't expect everyone, but like I think it would really fit, because you know, you have Lucy, you have Brandish, you know, her rival character, you have Kyria, who's also of a similar role, but also kind of more. But like Brandish and Lucy have more of a history, but like Kyria and Lucy, I think, had way more of a hostile relationship longer. Whereas like Brandish and Lucy had some beef, but then like it. Once you look at like the amount of times that they ran into each other and talked to each other up until like the point of seeing what happened with like Zoldio and stuff, it's not like they had as much just general like one-on-one as Kyria had with like Fairy Tail in general, and then Lucy. So it, you know, there's a different style of like encounter rivalry, but I don't really like Kyria. I never want to let her down. See, my cat's mad at me, but we're not talking about Mercphobia, we're talking about Kyria, and she's getting angry. But yeah, Merc just looked great in this chapter. I mean, I thought that he was pretty stellar. I don't expect him again to do anything insane in terms of busting out the cold moves against Lucy. I don't think he's going to be doing that. I'd be really surprised if he had anything that he had planned for, like, well, I'm going to have him do some like crazy big technique, and it's going all in right at Lucy's forehead. No, I don't think that's going to happen. But we have a lot just in general that's going to be playing out over this next couple set of chapters. I really hope before we get resolved with Ermina and Lucy, with Aquarius' Key, Brandish, Mercphobia, I'm really hoping we see what the other characters are doing before we get to that point. Also, just as a side note, it might just be the panel scene, but it looks like during like the bit where we see Natsu and Brian, that Brian is a little bit more progressed in his dragon form. It's nothing really, it's just if you look at his chin, like the scaly spike bits look a little bit bigger. Maybe it's just the angle. I really want to start seeing these guys in their full dragon form, because it's like, I really like his flat dragon tail, but at the same time, like his partial dragon form is only going to get you so far. It's mostly just him with scales, and he's starting to get a couple features. I do really enjoy his cool antlers though. But yeah, this was a pretty fast chapter in comparison to a lot of the other ones. I think that's just because outside of what we got with Lucy and everything over on that side, we got what one page of Natsu and Brian, and everything else was like Lucy and Brandish. And for the most part, Lucy and Brandish, I still think, moved relatively fast. And then we had that big, beautiful double spread, because like there was not as nearly as much dialogue. And then the first bit of the chapter started out with, you know, a quick little scrap scene between Brandish and Caramel. You combine that with like that big double spread, all stuff about Aquarius' Key, and it's like, yeah, the chapter definitely moved a lot faster than I would prefer, but it happens like that sometimes. For now, though, we just gotta sit and wait to see how things like play out. Again, it's more so like how's Lucy gonna get out of this. Hologram is the easiest one for me. It makes sense. We know that she should have it the save, and at the same time, it's good to have that kind of taken out of the picture and not an option for her. I do wonder if hers is like a 24-hour thing, or it goes by like the day and night cycle. Like once it passes midnight. Just knowing the style, it's probably midnight, not 24 hours. That would be kind of neat, but at the same time, that would be kind of shitty. I guess not really, because it's like, if you use it, then you automatically have 24 hours, but if you used it towards the reset, then you would have, like, you know, use it, and then an hour later when it resets, you have it again. Actually, yeah, that wouldn't be so bad, because then you still have to just wait the timer. My cat she's very upset about this merc phobia stuff. She doesn't want to see him she doesn't want to see him get tricked and blow up the locker room. She says, no, that's a good thing. We don't need Merc to be an enemy. We need Merc to be in a good standing and to do good things. I'd really like to see him fight Ignia. I think that would be an intense battle. I don't think it would go well for him, but still. Either way, I mean, Merc, I think Merc will be fine. He's going to be doing good. As of right now, though, we've got just the fact that Lucy's in a bit of a bite, but she and Brandish clearly know generally what to do. I just don't know what Brandish's plan is going to be, other than maybe she turns giant and just pulls the Lacrima out of the ground, but I don't know if she's going to be able to do that. I see them have the capability of destroying it, but I don't see them destroying it with their own power. I just only see it being a, you know, using Merc Phobia's power to destroy it kind of situation. Because out of all of them, I think that they have the best, at least, setup for going into it. We don't know who's going to be like other allies helping the other members, but right now the best ones, like obviously Brandish was good one for Lucy, and you can say, like I said, people like Kyria, and you know, technically Aquarius, like have Aquarius come in, but have, you know, and if Caramel, if you get Caramel switched over somehow, you have just enough to where you have a logical method. Like I said, if you have ways to redirect, because Kyria with as a Dragon Slayer would be able to do some not real damage, but it would be able to be at least semi effective in like dealing with certain attacks. And like if you combined all these things into, again, not trying to be like how do we damage or result in anything like directly effective, but how do we just get one attack, figure out how the best we can aim it, utilize it, and then like not get hurt in the process ourselves. I think that would be a really sweet kind of setup plan, but we'll see. We could get some really cool like combo attack. I don't see it being like super difficult. Partially too because when it comes to all the places, I think Ermina's probably got one of the weaker portions of like characters that we're gonna see there. Granted, I don't really get what we're gonna be seeing with Alderaan. Maybe we're gonna be seeing some of like the military guys, and maybe like the God Seeds are gonna be more dragon plant like or something. I know I say they came from Alderaan, but it's like, would it be like more demonic dragon-like power put towards them, and so they would just kind of like lose their more plant-like dominance and become more dragon plant-like? I don't know. Either way, it's to me, I think that there's more so calmness with Merc, because it's just as a final thing, you destroyed the Lacrima that is keeping Celine and Merc acting like this, and they're gonna have control again. You do it for Alderaan or Viernes, and they're just gonna be normal. They're just gonna be doing the same thing, but they're not gonna like act all crazy about it. They're just gonna be saying the same things they were saying before. But anyway, other than that, comment below, thumbs up the video, friend, like, and subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But that, I appreciate it. Already subscribed, and thank you all for listening. Bye.